was gambling one day, and he whispered in my ear, said, I won't tell.
This is why people have black fatigue. So you're telling me y'all made a nigga famous who was basically a rapist. Felice Johnson is a rapist. He rapes men. He raped men. He probably still rapes men. In a culture that is supposed to be so anti-gay, y'all are making the worst. Even the LGBTQ community doesn't claim this dude. Because there's a difference in being gay when it's a choice. But when you're forcing people to partake in these acts, that's called rape. No way in the world would a rapist of females be made famous. Name me one person who can say, oh yeah, I rape women. I rape women, and then they'll be invited to podcasts. They'll be invited to 20v1s. Only people who are celebrated for rape is men who rape men. Men who rape men are celebrated because all over podcasts, you have a bunch of men telling a bunch of booty bandit stories, which make them just as bad as the person who raped the man if they stood there and they watched another man get raped. All because of prison politics. So all these men running around here telling these booty bandit stories of how they was in prison. Either two things: you are a horrible human being because you stood there and you watched a man get raped, or you raped the man and now you're just trying to put it in the third party like it wasn't you. But you want us to sit here and listen to a bunch of booty bandit stories, and all these podcasters who go out and find these booty bandits, I think y'all gay. Secretly, I think you gay. Why the hell would you care about another man raping a man? That's why people don't care about men. All over the world, you got men who are being raped, but they can't come forward because they don't want to be ostracized. Because instead of siding with the victim, you're siding with the perpetrator. Every time you put one of the perpetrators, and then they use the excuse, well, I was in prison. Bullshit, man. Bullshit. You could have jacked off for all I gave a damn. You didn't have to rape another man. That's why I don't feel sorry for these dudes who go to prison. And then if we talk about prison, all we talk about is the violence, and we talk about the rapes. You don't talk about, and y'all say, oh yeah, we're trying to prevent people from going to prison. You ain't preventing no one from going to prison. Fucking the prison population has been going up. These stories have been going around the fucking world. Nobody has stopped, but we don't want to talk about the mental fatigue that prison has on people. When people come out of prison, whether they've been raped or they've seen a lot of violence, there's something wrong with them mentally because, hell, you've been locked up for how many years? You get told to go to the bathroom. You get told to go shower. You get told when you can go outside. You get told when you can eat. All of this shit you get told. The abuse that you take from the guards. On top of the abuse from the inmates. The fucked up facilities. Yeah. Talk about that shit. No, we don't want to talk about that. We want to talk about men raping men. Men being violent to men. You know why the violence don't work? Because most of the people in prison, 90% of the people in prison, or 90% of the people out here doing stuff, they're used to violence. So telling them stories about violence don't mean shit because they're used to it. And what y'all probably not going to believe, you're probably not going to believe, I would say 70% of the people who go to prison have been sexually assaulted when they was kids. Somehow in some type of correctional facility, maybe it was juvenile hall, maybe it was group home, maybe it was youth prison, but they've been sexually assaulted. Yeah, so that's nothing new either. But as black people and Hispanics and a few white people, we want to promote this lifestyle. When instead of promoting positive things to keep people from going to prison, we want to try to scare people from going to prison. You can't scare me if you ain't giving me nothing to eat. I'm still going to take a penitentiary chance. I don't give a fuck how many stories you take. If I'm hungry, if I'm poor, I'm still going to take me a penitentiary chance because I got to get out of my situation. But you, instead of coming in and offering other ways out of my situation, you want to try to scare me out of my situation, which you ain't doing. It ain't doing. Why don't you offer me a productive way out of my situation, a productive way where I can eat food, where I can go and put money on my table, put food on the table, put money in my pocket. Stop trying to scare me. This is why people got black fatigue. This motherfucker should not even be famous. He's a fucking rapist. Like I said, name me one female rapist that would be famous right now. What man could go out here and rape women and be on podcasts and do 20 V1s?